Hi everyone and welcome to INFINOX Market Insights with me, Richard Perry, analysing markets for INFINOX on Friday the 10th of September. Now, markets have been fairly negative, a little bit of negative sentiment dragged through markets throughout this week, but there has been a sense of a little bit more positive sentiment coming out of the Asian session overnight. Nothing significant really driving that move apart from maybe a little bit of M&A action, but a sense that a bit of a more positive vibe has been drifted into the European session, and that's helping equity markets, which have been under pressure throughout the last few sessions, to find a degree of support. Also, the dollar, which has been strengthening throughout the last few days, has again given back some of those gains today. Treasury yields are fairly flat, but a sense that nothing really has changed exceptionally. We had FOMC Michelle Bowman comments yesterday, which again pointed towards the taper later this year. The ECB yesterday in its monetary policy decision gave a few mixed signals, really. It's reducing the pace of its asset purchases under the PEP program, but again, President Lagarde was suggesting that this was more of a recalibration than a taper. So a few sort of mixed signals there, I would say. But generally speaking, as we approach the end of this week, markets are starting to find a little bit of support again, following on from recent selling pressure. Now, in terms of data points today, we've had UK growth, which actually monthly growth came in a little bit disappointingly today, and it'll be interesting to see whether that impacts on sterling dollar. We're also looking out for the US PPI, another inflation gauge, which is expected to continue higher, above 8% on the headline PPI, but will it be driving the dollar moves later today? So with regards to the charts we're looking out for, we're on euro-dollar because obviously we had that ECB meeting yesterday. We're going to look at the impact of that on the technicals, a degree of support around 118 forming. We're also looking at the gold chart, again, finding a degree of support around that 1780 mark. Is this now turning into a range play? And finally looking at FTSE 100. Those equity markets have been falling hard, FTSE more than others, but is it now starting to find some support? So let's have a look at the charts. So we're on the INFINOX MT5 platform now. We can see with euro-dollar, I had actually previously got an uptrend of the recovery in there, but that uptrend was broken earlier this week, and we've now sort of suggested that that's now gone. So, but it's interesting that the support has come in around the old resistance, around 118 big figure. That resistance from mid-August has now started to become a basis of support. So that is, in a sense, that's encouraging, and also encouraging is, I suppose, the RSI above 50. But it'll be interesting to see whether this is just simply essentially a midpoint of a range between that sort of 119 area and that 1660, 1650 area. So it'll be interesting to see whether that 118 big figure starts to become a more important level of support, and we'll only know in the coming days. But essentially, the rally has picked up off that, and I say rally, it's not really a rally, it's just basically a consolidation if you look at the 4-hour chart, and the 4-hour chart is still a little bit corrective. So some mixed signals we've still got on that euro-dollar, and essentially that is suggesting we are probably still ranging at the moment on euro-dollar, and we need to sort of look at that 118 big figure as a bit of a sort of mid-range pivot, I suppose. So we're still a little bit cautious on how to play euro-dollar at the moment. We need to see some decisive signals, and just the consolidation of the last couple of days is suggesting it's a bit of a wait-and-see mode on euro-dollar. And on the gold chart, we've seen again the resistance coming in around the 1834 mark. That was key earlier in the week, but the support now is growing around the 1780 area, 1770, 1780. It's interesting that we picked up off that 1780 mark. We've got the RSI, which again sort of hovering around the 50 mark, which again would suggest with sort of mixed sentiment, mixed ranging outlook. You could argue we're sort of ranging now between 1770, 1780 as the basis of support, and up towards that resistance 1834. So again, but just picking up a little bit in the last few hours, and you can actually see a bit of a base pattern. This is on the hourly chart, and you could perhaps play that as a base. So you'd be sort of saying any decisive move above $1,800, and you can measure it actually from 1784. So that would project you sort of $15 higher, $16 higher. So you're then sort of pushing towards this 1815, 1820 area, which I suppose is realistic potentially for a recovery zone. But essentially we are, I think, in a range now between those two, well, the support 1780 and the resistance 1834. And finally, FTSE 100 sharp move to the downside, actually 3 sessions in a row, big selling pressure. But it's interesting that we've still got this uptrend channel intact. Just go out one more level, show you that uptrend channel on FTSE, and finding support at 69.90. Interesting there with the reaction low that we saw previously, and closing above 7,000 as well is important. But this is not all that great. It's sort of showing again, sort of messy ranging indication, I think, on some of the signals. If you look on the other indicators, we've got Bollinger Bands which are falling, the stochastics which are still falling, so that doesn't really bode all that well. And not only that, you've got the MACD lines which are negative as well. So it's not all that great considering how equity markets have been positive. FTSE 100 isn't necessarily all that positive, and you'd say probably resistance around 1780 starts to come in, and that's probably your near-term gauge, I'd say. 7,090, 7,080, 7,090 maybe is your resistance. If you get back above that, you're looking more positive. But if you fail underneath that, then you're probably testing the trend channel lows again. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it informative for your trading. Join me again on Monday, where we'll be looking at how markets are set up for the new trading week. So I'll leave you with the INFINOX support and resistance table, and I'll speak to you then. Thank you very much.